Sufficient evidence of this is the tabletop completed in 1614 for the Spanish Duke of Osuna, which even at this later date is comprised of military trophies and the scroll frieze that are clearly derived from the decorative lexicon of Roman inlay. Even when, in the last decade of the 16th century, Florentine mosaic began to define its own original style, the influence of Rome continued to make itself felt. The fact is confirmed, for example, by this tabletop dating to the period in which the variegated marbles are exclusively of archaeological provenance, as required by the Roman taste that can also be discerned in the military trophies, while the naturalistic motifs of the parrot and the vases of flowers are novel elements in a manner that was never seen in the Roman inlays. However, the greatest novelty of this table lies in the technique utilized. Closely following the models of the ancient opus sectile, this technique completely abolishes the background slab and constructs the entire composition, including the black marble background, through the juxtaposition of perfectly matched pieces of stone, glued to an underlying support that remains invisible. In short, it is what, to use a modern term, we could define as a perfect jigsaw puzzle, which, in the language of the Florentine workshops, was called commesso, deriving from the Latin verb committere, meaning to join together. Made in the same manner was the table commissioned by the Emperor Rudolf II of Habsburg from the Florence manufactory in the same period, that must have made an enormous contribution to enhancing the fame of the Florentine mosaics throughout Europe. This table has been lost, but in the written description by a contemporary expert, we can read that it appears all of a piece and not assembled in marble, the way they make tables in Florence and Rome. When in 1601, Ferdinand I sent to Pope Clement VIII the portrait on display in the exhibition, he himself boasts in the accompanying letter that it had been made not in the ordinary form of mosaic, but with a different and more ingenious craft, that is, the technique of the commesso. Despite being fascinated by the pictorial potential of the commesso, the Grand Duke did not, however, completely abandon the task for inlay, which continued to be used in numerous creations of the manufactory. One such example is this tabletop, which brings together Florentine decorative motifs, such as the naturalistic bunches of flowers, and the Roman stylistic features, such as the overall compositional scheme and the prevalence of archaeological marbles. This splendid table was created using the same technique of inlay, but shows new style unrelated to the Roman works, although it shares with them the taste for a largely abstract decoration. Here, the flowers are relegated to a marginal role, while the decorative impact is entrusted to the motifs of Mannerist elegance, in which the shell-fan elements, worthy of the inventive flair of Buontalenti, are masterfully rendered through the dazzling combination of coral and lapislazuli. This same decorative motif of two-tone shells recurs in another inlaid table of the beginning of the 17th century. Here, however, the naturalistic theme of the vases with bunches of flowers assumes space and importance. These are flanked by pairs of birds of enchanting springtime coloring, set off by the brilliance of the white ground, which is left amply on view. Related to this table are the themes and colors of the Paris table of unusually monumental dimensions on display in the exhibition. Here, the profusion of the decorative motifs conceals a symbolism that is still partly to be deciphered, possibly linked to its significance as a wedding gift from the Grand Duke Ferdinando to his niece Maria de' Medici on the occasion of her marriage to the King of France in 1600. Around the turn of the century, the Florentine mosaics frequently favored the white marble background, which would soon give way to the intense black of the Belgian marble that dominated the Florentine mosaics throughout the 17th century and afterwards. Confirmation of this can also be found in the monumental high altar of the Church of Santo Spirito in Florence, where in the area above the altar table, the Apuan marble is inlaid with vases of spring flowers. The complex was built between 1598 and 1608 by the noble family of the Michelozzi, employing craftsmen from the Granducal manufactory made available for that occasion by Ferdinando. The altar of Santo Spirito is also important as early evidence of the impression aroused by the ambitious project which the Grand Duke was launching in these same years, a mausoleum for the Medici dynasty of untold dimensions and opulence.